Okay, guys, got another chapter. Now we're going to jump to a different time frame in the book, and this chapter is called Code 9 Dialysis. Anne had just finished making patient rounds when an announcement was made over the intercom. Code 9 Dialysis Unit. Code 9 Dialysis Unit. Code 9 meant a patient was actively receiving CPR and other life-saving measures. She only had one dialysis patient on her floor, and he was taking his treatment at this very time. "Betty," Anne called out for her co-worker as she quickly approached the nurse's station. "I'm in here," her co-worker answered. Betty had heard the announcement too while she was in the medication room. "Go on, I'll watch your patients," Betty said as she closed and locked the medicine cabinet. Anne had grown quite fond of Henry McNair during his short stay on her floor. He had kept her laughing since day one. The damage to his coastal nursing home brought on by the most recent hurricane was minimal, but getting power back to the area had taken longer than expected. Members of the code team were still arriving when she herself made it up 2 floors to the dialysis unit. She waited right outside the door until the emergency staff had all entered the room. She cracked the door open in time to see that Mr. McNair was adjusting his bed in order to get a better view of all the commotion happening across the room from him. "Oh, thank goodness," she whispered to herself. The code was not called for her sweet patient. On the way back to the floor, as she waited for the elevator to arrive, she noticed a name on a patient's door. A name that still haunts her to this very day. She stood motionless for what felt to her as if time had stopped. The elevator bell dinged as the door opened. She entered and pressed the button. "How's Henry?" Betty asked as Anne entered the station. "He's fine, nosy as ever," Anne answered. "Good. You look a little pale," Betty said. "Just ran into a ghost from the past. It's nothing," Anne tried to explain. The truth was, Anne's stomach was churning inside. A burning knot like an ulcer was coming on. Part of her wanted to burst up into that room and release the years of never-ending anger. The other part, the part that always seemed to rise to the surface, wanted to forget. To once again bury the past deep, deep within, never to be dealt with again. The printer began to print. A new patient was arriving. Both nurses looked over at it, neither wanting to walk over and read the news coming from the admissions. "Why do they always wait so close to shift change to send them up?" Betty said as she looked at the details. "Anybody we know?" Anne was curious. "Yeah, and she's all yours," her co-worker responded, dancing a little happy dance. "Don't tell me." Anne jumped up to read the paper Betty was waving through the air. "Yep, it's Head Lice Lucy." Betty chuckled and gave her the bad news. Truth be told, Lucy was what Anne needed to keep her mind from wandering back to her dark past. Perhaps it was only her curious nature that led her back to the room next to the elevator 2 floors up. She was certain beyond any doubt that it had anything to do with love or kinship. She walked into the floor's nurse's station, pulling the chart out of the rack. Her pulse was racing like she were fresh out of nursing school as she thumbed through the patient's record. Anne did not hear anyone enter the station as she was in deep thought reading. "Can I help you?" a nurse asked. Anne shook her head, returned the chart to its place, and walked away. The setting sun shone brightly from the window of an empty room as she waited for the elevator to arrive. A memory resurfaced. Her mother was standing at the kitchen sink washing dishes. The sunlight coming through the kitchen window caused her mother's hair to shine bright. Kitty noticed it too. "Mommy, you look like an angel," her little sister had said. The comment made her mother smile. The elevator door dinged, and once again Anne departed. Anne was unable to sleep. Her thoughts raced between the past and the present. Her need to open the door and to confront the demon behind it, but also needing to keep it shut. Throughout the many years, she had learned to cope with her past, to take in the blessings that came from the ashes. She needed sleep, but it would not come. She glanced over at the clock once again. 3:00. She let out a deep sigh as she threw the covers off her body and sat up. She knew what she needed to do, and as soon as daylight hit the sky, she would do just that. Hope you liked it.